Communities can come off as healthy and toxic in good or bad scenarios. Considering that I am new to the model railroad community with some occasional bad apples and sometimes misinformation, including the art community, yeah, they may be healthy and toxic, but I kind of have a pleasant experience as of the making of this video. Like, speaking of communities, I actually want to talk about the community that I was once part of and would speak out. And it's, of course, about the cartoon community. So, a few months ago, I have talked about my experience with the cartoon community, which are now deleted and kind of crap since kind of misinformation maybe. But I want to go ahead and talk about a more in-depth version of it. And kind of want to make like the definitive version of the cartoon community video. Now, I don't normally vent on my own YouTube channel whatsoever because I did hear it's a cheap way to grab people's attention, and I rehabbed therapy 2 years ago. But knowing that everything that's been going on right now and at this moment that's been going on to this day, and people actually wanted to know why I left the cartoon community, this is going to be an exception. Now, one of those reasons why I decided to leave the cartoon community was because of David Zaslav. No, many people actually wanted to know why I'm defending the most evil person in terms of animation. But before I get into it, let me make it clear that I don't like him either, and I'm not condoning his actions. But here's the thing that bothers me. The reason why I had to talk about him is because of his hate base. Ever since he stated a quote that I'm not going to repeat what he said for the sake of this video since it may trigger the community, and Warner Bros. Getting merged with Discovery, being known as Warner Bros. Discovery, which is now confirmed to be split as of the making of this video, people went berserk as they resorted to making hate art and hate memes out of him, as 99.9% of the people describe him as the real-life Judge Doom, which, other than their unfavorable traits, they absolutely have nothing in common. Like, seriously folks, how is this acceptable? And also, and you're not gonna like what they said because the cartoon community also described him as the reincarnation of a certain dictator who has genocide to Jews. And honestly, the latter, I just don't even know where to start. Like, just how death tone do they have to be? I have also seen a lot of petitions in change.org to raise money to fire or replace him as the way to stand up for themselves. And what makes it worse is that there are fill-in memes where fictional characters are approving or signing this, thinking that they're on their side. In certain occasions, yes, it's understandable, but otherwise, certain petitions in change.org is not only useless, but the cartoon community might be just as, if not more, greedier than him, as they might be a bit more scams. Also, to tell you the truth, the real reason why I have no plans on making hate art out of Zaslav is because his hate base started to remind me of Alvin Hung's hate base. I know that there are differences, but the reason why I had to combine both of them is because of similar hate bases. While I have talked about his hate base, there's actually one person in particular that I have a bit to talk about. So if you know who this chanyhuman person is, you may know him as the person behind cartoon crossover cosplays, which is kind of a bit interesting, shall we say, since it kind of gave me some Comic-Con vibes. However, you also may know him as the guy who has a healthy hatred for Warner Bros. Discovery and Zaslav in a previous section. And I used healthy loosely, mainly because he has a massive fixation on his hatred for the said corporation and the person that lives rent-free on his head. He has made a lot of fill-in memes, specifically the Drake memes, where fictional characters want to see a movie that's not distributed by Warner Bros. Discovery, even if it gets critical acclaim. Which, on the surface, is kind of understandable due to Ezra Miller being in hot water during the filming of The Flash and the tax layoffs. However, there are implications that he acts like a spoiled brat that throws a tantrum over people watching the movie by a company that he boycotted constantly. I am not saying he should watch these movies. If it's not for him, I'm fine with it, okay? But here's the thing that bugs me. I am pretty sure that his hatred for them is probably not good for his mental health. And whenever we pointed that out, he would make a fill-in meme where Woody calls us selfish, thinking that we are toxic WBD fans, when he is way more toxic than them, even though they aren't any better. You could argue that he could be like the equivalent of Zayd Magenta. It could be possible. The only difference is that they both have similar hatred for different companies. So much for wanting to make a world a better place.
Do you believe this guy?
Now then, regardless of your opinion on Disney, I mean, I don't really mind making fun of them. I'm actually coming off as a Disney person, and I kind of understand the grudge people are going for, but for the cartoon community, yeah, this is where I have a problem. For starters, I'm gonna mostly go towards the fandom menace. What can I say? I'll make it brief when I say this. The fandom menace are absolutely the worst Star Wars fans when it comes to it. Like, in recent years, I have learned that people have the tendency to bully Daisy Ridley all because she portrayed a character from Star Wars, claiming that the character is a Mary Sue, even though it absolutely has no meaning whatsoever. But regardless of this caused her to leave social media. I mean, as a Star Wars fan, true Star Wars fans do not go as far as to bully innocent actors and actresses. I'll probably go back to that later. But for now, I feel like I gotta talk about the eerie similarities to the way fans treat people. Like, the real people bullying young Anakin Skywalker's actor, Jake Lloyd. You're still lucky that he is still a Star Wars fan. And the same would apply to Jar Jar Binks' actor. Which is unfortunate because this would lead him to suicide. Yeah, bunch of degenerates right there. And finally, I really gotta talk about Disney's awful hate-em. Like, I know Disney fans aren't any better, but the hate base it's a whole nother story. I have seen endless bullying and harassment and negativity towards the actors and actresses, who all because people portrayed them in the live action remakes of Disney classics. And it's starting to bug me a lot. Like, I know Rachel Zegger for the Snow White live action remake isn't any better, but regardless of your opinion, making memes, I'm pretty sure they won't look good on anyone's resume, is my best guess. Also, award season in 2022. Where the hell do I begin? Well, ever since Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was released, people would end up making a lot of Disney versus DreamWorks memes, which I am absolutely appalled and mortified, as they would often claim that DreamWorks should win the Best Animated Feature this year, but in reality, it was Pinocchio. As this actually caused the cartoon community to try to make like a wake-up call to Disney, saying that they're the evil corporation and that's all there'll ever be. But in reality, the only one that's evil is the current CEO's Bob Iger. Like, Disney likely fell into the wrong hands, as this wake-up call trend has been going on for quite a while, and I had to witness it as I've been wanting to leave this community for quite a while. But the full motivation / the real reason why I've lost respect for the cartoon community was because of the Little Mermaid live action remake. Oh boy, you heard me correctly. The Little Mermaid live action remake is the real reason why I'm done or lost respect for this god-awful community. I know it sounded a bit petty, but hear me out. I did hear that Halle Bailey did a very good job portraying Ariel, even though I'm not really fond with the live action remake. The reason why it angered me the most was because people literally sent hateful messages to her by saying go woke, go broke, all because of her skin tone. And is this the route they're gonna go for? I am just mortified at this. I have a message to the people who bullied Halle Bailey. I hope you're happy. You literally bullied an innocent actress who wanted to betray Ariel when she was younger. And it's no wonder why people call you Cartoonaboos. Overall, the real reason why I decided to cut ties with the cartoon community was not just the Little Mermaid live action remake or the way people treat Halle Bailey. It's because it started becoming way more problematic for my mental health as years go by and as I got older. People may be asking, why am I doing this? Well, it's because I just wanted to speak out about my experiences with the cartoon community. I was originally going to write this in a Google Doc from reading it, but this will be an exception. Like, I'd actually be way more concerned about the community's future than the future of animation is mainly because they just don't focus more on their mental health more often these days, as it has never been the same community as it once was. As all I can say as a hot take, when I say the cartoon community is basically the new goanimate community. And people may be asking why I describe them as one. Well, think about it. Hate art and hate memes is basically like the new grounded videos, and saying that David Zaslav is basically like the Alvin Hung of the 2020s, and of course online harassment, which is basically a bit like the new grounded threats. Like, also targeting and hating on new generation of shows is basically like hating shows for little kids and preschoolers. And that's why I describe them as the new goanimate community. They're hateful and wishing genuine harm on others. But what about opinions? They can actually respect your opinions, right? Well, thankfully I haven't forgotten about it, because unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say it, they don't care about opinions anymore. What I'm saying is, yes, the cartoon community still respects opinions. I mean, there are still some of them. But unlike the goanimate community, in which they use the I respect your opinion term even outside the said community. Otherwise, forming your own opinion as of late 2022 is now impossible. I am seriously not joking with you. I am dead serious. It'd be one thing to just say, if you don't like, or if you like or hate certain media, I respect your opinion. Well, you get harassed by them. Like, examples include liking Teen Titans Go, you get bashed. Not being a fan of hate watching, you get bashed. And, of course, liking Primos, you automatically get bashed. As it seems like there's an unwritten rule in the cartoon community that you're not allowed to speak out about your opinions and some disagreements, because they would see your opinion as inferior, because we are now allowed to keep opinions to ourselves, as this has started becoming a mortifying experience, because as of now, for the sake of the cartoon community, opinions aren't even the case anymore. I also learned that the cartoon community would go as far as to literally send them death threats by wishing genuine harm on others. The most recent example has to be after the movie Fix's release, as they even went as far as to send the animators for the said movie death threats, mainly because it has inappropriate content, when they might be a bit hypocritical because they're also fans of adult shows that have adult humor. Like, this is beyond messed up for the cartoon community to say. Despite people thinking that there are kids, in reality, it's not possible, because they might be cartoonaboos, as some people would say. As some people learned on social media that everyone has a terrible life, as it's wise to remember that. But the cartoon community didn't get the memo, as they also resorted to joining a rally despite showing their true colors. I had no problems with the rally whatsoever, but for the sake of the cartoon community, they would take things too literally. And you may be asking, what would happen if any of the actors and actresses people idolize what would they think of the cartoon community's antics? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now that I'm willing to bet they don't condone their actions. In fact, it's implied that they knew about what the cartoon community has done. Everything I like about the cartoon community is pretty much destroyed, as everything was withered away into an echo chamber, or better yet, a septic tank. As the fans have started taking a turn for the worst, as they would have gotten themselves a monster-sized controversy if Netflix or Peacock or even HBO Max made a documentary about the goanimate community. As I'm willing to bet that 2023, in my opinion, could be the year of the potential downfall of the cartoon community. Because every year we would fear what the cartoon community is going to do next. Like, if they took things too far, like, yeah, this could have been a major disbandment, as the cartoon community has pretty much destroyed their own reputation. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I might even become the next target for the cartoon community for criticizing them. Even after all the things that they have done, I was trying to move on from my life. While that, I was still confronted with the cartoon community still being toxic than ever. Because I still feel that the death threats towards the animators of Fix might even be the cartoon community's worst moment as of the making of this video. Like, in 2026, I did hear that David Zaslav is gonna step down, but I'm willing to bet that the cartoon community is gonna be a tsunami of celebration. As much as he's controversial, regardless of your opinion on him, I don't even like him either, but I have definitely felt bad for him. Like, as an autistic person myself, I am not going to condone the autistic people bullying an innocent old man. And they can also say whatever they want, because if Zaslav steps down next year, I better pray to God that next year the cartoon community would finally get therapy. I know I sounded like a broken record when it comes to the past 2 videos I made, but this video could be the closest to being the definitive version of my experience with the cartoon community, because, as I said, this took 2 years in the making. Like, from scripts not good enough to an unscripted version for some reason. But for the sake of this video, I just don't even know. And I also don't even know if I'm ever gonna forgive the cartoon community after all the crap that they have done and the crap they gave people over the years. Like, I'm not condoning controversial people's actions, to say Harvey Weinstein's controversy when it comes to the unpleasant scandals towards women. When the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid was 1 week away from its theatrical release, this was the release date of the said movie was my original plan for me to leave the cartoon community for good, because rather than take part of certain events, I just wanted to focus more on myself as a person and focus more on my goals. Yeah, okay. Judging by who they truly are and the way people treat innocent people, whether they're controversial or not, and judging by what I've learned in later years as of late 2022 and early 2023, I think, in my opinion, I don't think the cartoon community is going to change, as there might be implications that they probably learned nothing. I'm not trying to be mean to the fans. My whole point of this video is to basically speak out from my experience with the cartoon community. Like, if I had toxic fans, I probably disown them, unless they're actually sane. Like, I'm also not saying that all fans are probably the worst and annoying, but what I'm saying is there are certain fans that are incredibly problematic. As I said, cartoons are still part of my life, and I am still an artist. It is not because of AI artwork. It's because I have a brutal art block, because I have other stuff to take care of when it comes to work and volunteering and babysitting. Like, I have other stuff to take care of. Like, I'm still gonna post some artwork, but people actually should realize that I'm actually more than just an artist. I'm actually also a model railroader, and I'm also a massive train geek, as the reason why I called it my channel Train Ninja 21 was because, aside from trains, I'm also fascinated for ninjas and Japanese culture, as vlogging and discussions and model railways is what I'm gonna lean towards for the potential future of my channel, but that's another story. Now, let me make it clear that I'm still gonna draw regardless, but it may take a while, because unless I get the full motivation, because I might be working on a graphic novel series. Because I would love to talk about it. I've been wanting to release the evolution of my characters from DeviantArt possibly next month. And I might plan on making the next model railway vlog. Probably this or next month or possibly October. Like, I was originally gonna post my model railway vlogs every 6 months because it'll save me time to talk about them. Like, I've been writing all over on the Google Docs and give you the stuff that I've been doing for my layouts. And it's still a lot of fun to talk about them. So, yeah. Yeah. To the same cartoon community members, I'm sorry that I had to say this, but I don't want to be involved in this anymore. As I am never gonna go through the toxic cartoon community members' antics ever again.